So, it's I, Dymock-Johnson, talking about Dragonlance, remembered after 30 years or so. And the good, the bad, and the ugly. First, the good. What was good about Dragonlance? Well, it was the first big epic adventure. You could go on this big epic quest. They have these characters in the back of the thing that says, these are our recommended characters, and there are bits and pieces for them to do things in the adventure, but you can totally do your own. But I think we did play with the characters out of the back of the thing. Some of them were good, some of them were loved. Good characters. Raceland, everyone would be Raceland. Garamond, he was a big puff fighter, he was pretty popular. Tennis, he was pretty cool, he was a fighter as well. He ended up with Wormslayer, which was a pretty cool weapon. Tasloff, people want to be Tasloff, the anti-Bilbo Baggins. Because if you look at some of that early art from him, he looks lean, mean, he looked like he will rip you one. He is the progenitor of the mean, nasty, stabby assassin man hobbits you get today. They all come from him. And he had some cool abilities as well. He had that taunt thing, he had that staff sling. He was immune to fear, he had immune to fury, he was bonuses against fear saves. They were pretty cool. And you had all the other characters. But, they were much for muchness. People played them, but didn't want to play them. So, yeah, the characters are okay, but, yeah. Garamond, Raceland, and Hasselhoff. If you wanted to redo Dragonlance, you wanted a much smaller party, because playing groups are a lot smaller these days. Probably those guys, Tennis, and whoever you're going to make a cleric. Yeah, that's probably all you need. The others, you probably want as NPCs, because, well, yeah, they had their fans, but no one really wants to play them. But anyway, other good things. Yeah, it was the first big, long, epic adventure with plot points and twists and turns and things to do, and maps to explore. It was basic back in the explore and random encounter mode. But you also had this backstory and this plot going on, which was kind of fun to interact with and introduce and learn how to do. And gave us most of the ideas of how to do plots and adventures and sagas and epics. Of course, they also had a lot of things you don't do. Dragonlance was very railroady. You went down the path, you did your things, and there were a few bits and pieces where you could do slightly different things, but generally, you got to the end of everyone got to the same end at the end of the adventure. So yeah, it was good but it was good for that. For what it was at the time, that was pretty ambitious, that was pretty cool. Other cool things, the Draconians were cool. Everyone liked fighting the Draconians. They were puzzle monsters, they all did something weird and different. The Grunt Draconians, the name is Bazzers, they turned to stone, and some of them exploded, and some of them turned to acid. So often there was a lot of missile fire against Draconians. You learned to take Draconians down with missile fire. They also had magic resistance, so they were puzzle monsters, and some of them could cast spells. So they were interesting opponents. They were quite cool to fight. And they were always a little tricky, because they always had those special weird death attacks they had. So they were better than your normal grunts. So yeah, that was pretty cool. And there were other bits, and there was a lot of lore. You could definitely see where you could go off and do other adventures or other things. And being 13, 14, you also liked the books. The books were okay. If you're 13 and 14, if you're over that age, then maybe give them a miss. But, for the time, they were pretty cool. So yeah, there's all those are the good things. The bad things of Dragonlance. Bad thing number 1. The plot was pretty easy to work out. Again, it was the early 80s. No one had done this before, but I think they severely underestimated who their target audience was. We were all nerds, all very clever girls and boys, and we worked out the basic plot by about module 3, I think, when I think it was Peter said, wait a second, all these draconian names we've been running into, because we'd learned the names of the draconians by then, they're all bastardizations of good dragon names. They're made from good dragons. And the GM looked at me and said, nah, that can't be it. They wouldn't do that, something that simple. Oh, they did. Spoiler alert for a 30-year-old campaign series. The bad guys are turning the good guys' dragon eggs into draconians. And we had to trudge through the modules, waiting for the reveal point, so we could say, I told you so, to the good dragons and get them on our side. Would solve a whole lot of bother. They just listened to us and sought reason. So yeah, that was the basic problem. Most of the old D&D modules, you could puzzle them out, you could work them out. They were puzzles, and so you could work them out. So yeah, there was that. That was a bad problem. They were also if you're going to redo them today, you'd want to set up the scenario a bit differently. Not make it so railroady. Maybe have the dragon armies be a little more proactive in what they're doing, because from memory, whenever we got to an area where we had to go and bust into one of their strongholds or something, it was a typical dungeon. It was just dragon themed. So that might have been a function of us being 13 to 15 and not really knowing how to do this sensibly, but still, for an all-encompassing world-conquering army, they were pretty passive once you got to them. So yeah, I'd probably set it up different. You'd have to look at the whole thing in a totality. Maybe get that war game they had. Once we got our hands on that, we thought that made the game a whole lot more interesting, because you could move around and you'd be encountering armies, or you'd be organising defenders or rallying people or preventing a rout, because this army here routed and you have to go and unroute them. So you could do a good fantasy-based war game, or fantasy-based XCOM style game where you're zooming around doing things to help break the invincible dragon war machine. And you'd have to find these bits and bobs and these artifacts that could help you slay them, like the Dragonlances, the Dragon Orbs, and the other things, and try and get various people and nations on side. And so yeah, whatever it was called, War of the Lance, whatever the module, the R11, I think, could possibly have a good backdrop for a sweeping war campaign, because it had this huge map and you had little chits you moved around. It was basically an 80s style war game with zones of control and movement and morale and broken units and supply units and whatever. So that was cool. So you might want to do that. You might want to redo it around that thing. The original set of modules and the railroad and just leading down the garden path, you probably won't want to do that. Things have moved on from the first step, so you might want to do something different and use the wargame as an inspiration. So yeah, it was very railroady, but that's a product of its time. So yeah, those are the two main bad things. It was a bit too simple and a bit too railroady, but both of those things are products of time. The ugly. The silly races. There are an awful lot of silly races that have come out of Dragonlance, because they got cutesied up and shipped out and presented these incredibly cute things. Kendo were originally bad hobbits, mean hobbits, feral hobbits. And I think there was an article in the Dragon magazine, and the artist, I think the artist and the writer, they got very cute very quickly, and they became the stereotype. They got picked up by that type of player. If you don't know the sort of person who would play a Kender, well, you're a fortunate soul. But they eventually ended up being played by one type of character, the annoying thief who steals everything and says, I do steal everything from the party because it's in the character description, and I'm not scared of you being threatening me, so I don't care about that either. They were just annoying. So yeah, Kender became unplayable very quickly after that, and they were horrible things, and probably well deserved for their hatred. But the other two silly races, the gully dwarves, who were just these sad, depressed dwarves that were oppressed. I remember the first module, I thought, this is terrible. These dwarves are living in absolute squalor, and they've degenerated, and it's just horrible. And they got turned into these cutesy, nicey thing, which was stupid and spoke sort of this broken common, and it was okay to be a stupid dwarf because you were a gully dwarf. I didn't understand the reason why they cutified that up. And then they had the gnomes. The gnomes. And the reason turned gnomes into mechanicals, into mechanic adepts. But broken mechanic adepts. And, you know, having steampunk gnomes, that's okay, I guess. Yeah, it's fine. But just making them cute and nicey and, again, comical. There was too much comedy put in. And comedy is a very hard thing to do. You can do it right. If you do it right, then you do it right. But there are so many ways to do it wrong. And we got to see it done wrong with Kender, gully dwarves, and tinker gnomes. Just, so horribly. So, those races are pretty horrible. I remember when we revisited Dragonlance when I was at university, one memorable event was the genocide of the Kender. Because we played our own characters in the second time round. But there were NPC Kender around. And we decided they had to go. And so when we got to the point where I think there are hobgoblins attacking one of the major Kender settlements, we joined the hobgoblins. Screw it. You want to kill all the Kender? We'll help. We'll do it for you. So yeah, that was not a happy session, but yeah, extermination of all the Kender in the world. That does leave a cheery thing. So yeah, there's that. There was that ugly thing. And the other ugly thing of Dragonlance that you would definitely need to change is the base cosmological conflict. Tiamat versus Bahamut, that's okay. You know, good versus evil, that's a fairly stock thing. But the way they went about it, the backstory, this high priest was a jerk and had pissed off the gods. So the gods were jerks and just told all the mortals, oh, fuck you. And that's what precipitated this entire combat. They weren't going to help, but so evil just got to steamroll over them after it broke loose, and you had to go and fight to get the good gods back. And then you learned what the good gods had done, and you'd wished you never had done that. You'd be better off just finding a different solution, which I think we did in the second time round. We had enough of these good gods. They were horrible. We weren't going to mess around. We weren't going to deal with them. They were nasty. They were, as far as we could work out, as bad as the others. So yes, you'd want a different cosmological conflict. I'm not sure how you'd rectify that. Maybe the Great High Priest miscast some spell and just sealed off the material world from the spiritual world. It was a mistake, an error. still a cataclysm. This world of magic just got shut off from divine help, and the first thing to get back is Tiamat at Tarkus, and she's evil, and she gets back first, and that's why she and her dragon armies are rampaging around, causing the main problem that drives Dragonlance. They get back first because they happen to be faster. The good gods were slightly behind them. And slightly behind means, a couple of decades in the mortal realm, so by the time they turn up, things are pretty much where they are at the start of the Dragon War. But it's not through conscious choice. Because if you have it as conscious choice, then your only conclusion is that those gods are dicks. They're just dicks. And why would you worship them? But if they're late because they were racing, but, because good and evil get to be matched in these things, in D&D worlds, the evil gods were faster. That works a lot better. So yeah, if I was to run Dragonlance again, I would definitely change up things. I would make Kinder mean and scary little creatures, not cute creatures. Galadors could be oppressed and squalid and depressing and just bad, and you'd want to help them. Tinker Gnomes should just be scary and dangerous. They shouldn't be funny. The idea that they are hot humorous is just ugh. Just have them be this frightening thing, these mad, broken minds that have turned to technology because, well, there is no divine magic around. So yeah, I'll definitely change those up. I would not have it railroady. I'd definitely base it off the war game and have it be a much more war-based game, and with the characters eventually becoming generals or commanders and having to help out at various places, but also having to go and search out various objects. And that will give you an excuse to occasionally have to use different characters because you're in different locations. You'd send some people off to go and do a thing, and so you could have some troop sale play as well. So it'd be one heroic PC and a few hangers-on. Maybe you wouldn't even use the D&D engine for that. Use something different. And I'd definitely change the cosmological combat to what I've just described. Have the cataclysm be a genuine accident or a cataclysm or a meteorite hitting the world, and the High Priest uses up all of the divine energy, or somehow severs the connection with the divine worlds and the outer planes, or whatever, however the damn D&D cosmology works. Have it work so that somehow they got cut off, and that's why there are no more clerical powers. It's not because the gods were dicks and they didn't live at a peak. It's an actual, genuine, horrible accident. And the gods have been trying to restore contact with their worshippers and their followers and get their followers back, and the evil gods were just a bit quicker off the mark. That's what I would change in it if I was ever going to write it again. So, there are my thoughts on Dragonlance. Thank you.